Hello again everyone, and welcome back to Skyblock News. I'm your host Derailious, and today we'll be covering the new design thread on hunting and attributes that really changes a lot about the game in an excellent way. Without any further ado though, let's launch right into this. So the admins start off by saying, hello, today I'd like to discuss hunting, a new skill introduced in the Foraging update, and its relationship with attributes. They state that attributes are passive perks that can be applied to certain armors, equipment, and fishing rods found in the Crimson Isle. Since their introduction, they have monitored their impact and identified several problems, and there are quite a few problems here. Notably, there are balancing issues with other items in which the admins feel like they have to assign disproportionately high stats to non-Crimson Isle equipment to maintain competitiveness. They attempted to universalize attributes across all items and rebalance them, but it did not work. There are balancing issues with scaling. There are 40 total levels for a balanced perk on any piece of armor, so you have tiers 1 to 10 across the 4 pieces, and balancing those perks across those 40 levels while making sure each level individually feels impactful is very difficult. There's also the total attributes required for max level. You need 256 stacks in order to progress from level 9 to 10. This level of progression for a marginal increase in power is not justifiable. There are also limitations with combat and fishing. Basically, all attributes are currently limited to those two skills. A good system should be expandable to encompass many different skills and parts of the game. Then there's the finality of attributes on items. What if an attribute is only good in some situations? Is it worth using over the meta attribute? Because you can only choose two and have to redo an entire different armor set for another situation, attributes design has been very limited, with unique and situational attributes often overshadowed by universally stronger ones. Then there's the RNG of God rolls, in which the randomness in attribute distribution has been problematic, with items rolling 2 random attributes within an extremely complex and hard to balance meta. They state that while it can be thrilling to acquire the perfect attributes on an item, this excitement stems from a fundamentally unbalanced system and doesn't warrant its continuation in its current form. And finally, there's perk justifications. Basically, they want to make sure that things tend to work out and that there's also meaning behind the rolls and items you get. When making a new perk category in Hypixel Skyblock, it should be clear where it belongs, and the philosophy behind attributes is currently weak. All of those issues combined prompted a revamp of the attribute system. Moving right along, they state what is hunting. Many creatures in the world of Hypixel Skyblock will have one attribute attached to them, and hunting them will allow you to gain stacks of said attributes. Hunting will primarily be an active endeavor, requiring players to use specific items to hunt a creature. The vast majority of mobs in the game are combat creatures, so for those you'll need to weaken them and capture them. We are also excited to introduce non-aggressive creatures that can be caught using different items. Using traps or assaults, you'll be able to hunt in a more passive manner. There's also going to be a lot of changes to the way attributes work at all. They'll no longer be applied directly to items, and players will be able to keep their progress in the new system. Instead, there'll be an attribute menu where players can set a select amount of attributes from their collection. Each attribute will belong to a specific category such as combat, farming, fishing, foraging, mining, hunting, and global. Instead of applying attribute shards on items, you will siphon them and permanently add them to your collection. Each extra stack will then add up to increase the tier. I think this looks really good. I think this makes a lot more logical sense. It doesn't just tie it to the Crimson Isle specifically. It's expandable, and it looks like it's easy to understand, which I think is the most important thing about this system. There's also some new attribute examples here: Hunter, Blazing, and Crystal Blessing. Hunter is a fishing attribute that grants up to 5 sea creature chance obtained from hunting sea archers. Blazing is a combat attribute that can be obtained by hunting flares. It increases damage against monsters on the Crimson Isle by 5 to 50%. There's also the Crystal Blessing, which is a mining attribute which grants you up to 10% extra gemstone powder obtained from hunting this. I really do think this looks pretty solid. It gives reasons to go after specific mobs for bestiary purposes, and I really think that this is going to be useful long term. There's also going to be the same 10 tiers for attributes, but the scaling will be significantly revised. Players will no longer need 512 stacks to reach the maximum level, and additionally, many attributes will receive buffs, since each attribute can only be selected once from the menu. The goal of the system is to provide flexibility, allowing players to swap attributes at any time without being confined to a specific build. It enables the introduction of more specialized passives that offer benefits in smaller areas of the game. Separating attributes from items also significantly aids in balancing, as it places all items on equal footing. I really think they did a great job with this. It looks really cool. Fundamentally, it looks like you're going to be able to get 2 attributes on every single type of item or material, except for combat, which it seems like you'll get 4 of, which is pretty neat. So you'll get 4 combat attributes, 2 foraging, 2 hunting, 2 mining, farming, fishing, and global, which makes general sense. I like that they put extra emphasis on combat. It's to match the 4 armor pieces that you were previously able to have. Moving right along, they also state, we also want to extend the system to other skills like farming, mining, and foraging, and this overhaul makes such extensions a lot more feasible. We envision the hunting skill as a dynamic addition to the game that can be continually developed, adding new gameplay and rewards. In the long term, with the latest updates to Minecraft, we plan to introduce a variety of creatures across different areas of the game, enriching the hunting experience. Each creature will bring more unique attributes, bringing strategic depth and variety to other choices. Here's another pretty cool image of an area in 1.19 or 1.20. I think this is Mangrove here, which looks really, really good. In terms of fusions, the Precursors, a long-lost civilization, crafted various hunting devices, one of which is the fusion machine. This remarkable device allows players to merge the genetic footprints of 2 creatures, resulting in the creation of a shard from a different creature. Intriguingly, it's possible to obtain shards from creatures that do not yet exist, which is pretty neat. This feature ensures that shards always have value, providing options for use even if the associated attribute is unappealing or already maxed out. And here's a new farming attribute called Crop Bug, which increases the odds of obtaining crappies, squash, or fermento by 2 to 20%, obtained by obtaining a beetle shard through a fusion. There's also going to be some inherent attributes. Some attributes will give you their power even if they actively aren't selected in the attribute menu, so stacking those will always be worth it. Here's Combat Trap, which gives you a bonus to your traps. Your traps will catch combat creatures faster by up to 10%, and it's obtained by hunting a Dusty Bit. This is pretty neat. I think it's a silly little item and also a silly little name for the mob that you're going to have to hunt after. In terms of what will happen to current attributes, they state that you should not panic. During the transition to the new system, we will ensure that you retain your existing progress and be more generous than needed. We aim to make this change as rewarding and seamless as possible. In terms of Kudra's loot, given that her rewards have traditionally centered around attributes, they plan to revamp her loot table to align with the new system changes. This will ensure that rewards remain relevant and exciting. Finally, in terms of your rare items, attributes will continue to be visible on your items as grayed out features until you choose to integrate them into the new system. While this update may impact the game's economy, they are committed to minimizing any adverse effects and ensuring a fair transition for all players. Here's another cute little image. I think this is Jerry sitting on a little pedestal. And they state, please give us your feedback. Your input is crucial to us as we implement these changes. Please share your thoughts and feedback on this thread. And my opinion is, everything here looks incredible. This is the type of change I've been wanting to see for years now. I feel like the original attribute system, while really cool conceptually, didn't pan out well at all. It was locked to the Crimson Isle, it was unable to be expanded upon, a lot of the items were broken, and a lot of the other items were effectively useless, and that basically made it so that you had to use the meta setup, or you were completely wasting your time. If the admins decided to buff or nerf a specific attribute, well then you had to use an entirely different set, and it'd be a waste of a lot of money. This allows the system to be separated from the Crimson Isle, allows it to be universal, and allows newer players to get involved in a way that I think is going to be super interesting. Just like Combat Masteries, which will eventually probably come with 1.0, this greatly improves the strategic depth of Skyblock, and I can't imagine to see all of the different things that people are going to think up. Like, there's going to be so many options, so many choices in terms of attributes that people are going to be able to go for. I'm really excited to see what ends up happening here, especially with this new attribute menu system and what specific combinations people are able to cook up. At the end of the day though, my name's Derailious, thank you so much for watching this video till the end, and look to the future fellas, I'll see you then.